Hi, my name is Steve and I'm the pastor of Hope Church, Aldershot. This Sunday, my talk will be about how to share the good news of Jesus. You may have already seen it. In that talk, I speak about the authenticity of your personal story, sharing the impact of Jesus in your life. I found that this is often the best way of communicating how the joy, trust and hope that comes from following Jesus is best explained and can be very persuasive to someone who knows you. So in that talk, I refer to parts of my story. And as I was scripting my talk, I thought it might be helpful to capture it in some sort of fullness as an example of a testimony one might share. So, welcome to my story. In my early 20s, I was, by the world's standards, doing all right. I had a grammar school education, a job that allowed me to travel the world, a flat, a classic red sports car, and a lovely girlfriend. But this was the 80s, and life then for a young man was all about success and upgrades. My selfish character embraced this culture, hungry to upgrade my job, my car, my flat, my relationships. However, I came to a point when I realised that the pursuit of constantly upgrading my life was ultimately not making me happy. Over a Chinese meal with my friend Mal, I asked him about his Christian faith. I was an atheist. In my eyes, there was no God. His church was unappealing and irrelevant, and yet Mal was content in ways I was not. He invited me to come and see what a church could be like, and I found myself in a multicultural Anglican church in Brixton, London. Determined to cynically observe, I made a move to sit at the back, but Mal and his friends placed us right at the front. First up, singing. Now, I like singing, but hymns, they weren't my thing. But there was no organ, but a band, and they were good, and the music was good, and the people around me were energized by the whole experience. I found myself loving it. The vicar then said that we were going to listen to see if God wanted to say anything. Well, I was all ears. I'm not sure I knew what to expect. I expected nothing, of course, but I didn't believe in God, but I wondered if perhaps a big booming voice might emulate from the roof. In fact, what happened was uncomfortable silence, and then someone spoke in tongues. Now, this is a heavenly language I've learned since that people use to pray and communicate with God when they run out of words in their native language. To my ears, it sounded like gobbledygook. I think I even cynically sniggered. But the vicar said, let's wait and expect God to give someone an interpretation. That again is what the Bible encourages the church to do. This apparently isn't new stuff, but it's been happening for thousands of years. Someone stood and spoke, and although I was too stunned to remember the words, they spoke directly into my life, expressing how I was feeling. Well, as I said, I was stunned. This happened again, and then for a third time. Each time a different person bringing a different tongue, and then another different person bringing a different interpretation, but always something to do with what I was thinking and feeling at the time. Needless to say, my attentions were arrested. Next, we split into small groups and prayed. Now, my grammar school education kicked in as I knew how to say amen at the end. I assumed the shampoo position of prayer, hands in your hair, looking earnest and eyes firmly shut. As soon as I shut my eyes, I lost all sensation and feeling in my legs. Now, back then, I enjoyed sport a lot. I wasn't fantastic at it, but I was distracted enough for it to spoil my O-level results. Losing the feeling in my legs scared me, and I turned to my friend Mal and said so. He thought this was very exciting development, and alongside his friends all gathered round to pray. In that moment, I heard the audible voice of God saying, Steve, now do you believe in me? Well, there was only one answer by then, and I asked Jesus into my life. My evening, however, was not finished. We literally had a quarter of an orange at half time. There was a sermon and then another time of prayer. As we prayed, I couldn't shake the image in my head of a room with lots of young people in it, with me teaching them. Over the next 3 years, I had so many questions. I started to go to church and read my Bible. I started to work out my faith, as the Bible says, and 3 years later, gave up my job and flat, sold my car, and sought further education and training to become a youth worker for the church. Today, I'm grateful to God for the experience that turned my unbelief into belief. I have a distinct moment I can recall, but I'm more grateful that my kids also have a faith that doesn't have a dramatic story because they've always known God. I wrestle with selfishness still, and I do love my gadgets and their upgrades, but the driving force of my life is behind me. I chose to invest in others rather than myself. My investment is now in family, friends, church, and especially young people. It's their upgrade in faith that I'm seeking now. And I'm content. I have been for some time now. Every day is a blessing, and everything I have is equally so. I try always to remember that I am blessed to be a blessing to others. I don't always get it right, but that is the new narrative of my life. As you've listened to that story, you may have some further questions. You may want to know a little bit more about what we do as Hope Church. You may want to know a little bit more about who Jesus is. And if that's the case, can I encourage you to go online? We're now in a digital world, and check out our website, which is hopechurchaldershot.org. Or maybe you will just want to send us an email at office@hopechurchaldershot.org, and we'd love to connect with you. We're going to be running an alpha course in September, which helps us explore the Christian faith in a really fun and informative way. And we're doing that digitally. So you don't even have to live in Aldershot or the nearby area. You can do that wherever you are. And it's completely free. So if you want to know more, can I suggest get in contact with us? We'd love to hear from you.